Hello, everyone. I'm your host, John Rayon, on the Always Direct podcast. My guest today is Jeff Grad. He's the co-founder of Evolution Fresh, a cold-pressed juice company that's now approximately in 20,000 Starbucks across the nation. He's an all-star entrepreneur, and I can't wait to dive deep into his story and learn from his experience. Once again, thanks for coming on the podcast. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Thanks. So tell me, Jeff, what are you doing these days? What is your role right now with Evolution Fresh? What do you do?
So I don't have any role per se with the corporate entity, which is now owned by Starbucks. What I currently do that I've done for a long time is I have a distribution company in San Diego County, and we continue to service our health food stores and our restaurants and hotels and coffee shops with the Evolution brand.
Really? So they didn't. So when you sold, you didn't stay on the corporate side. You decided to just do the logistics of getting the product out.
So when Starbucks took over the company, I mean, they basically did a purchase of the majority of the company. What they didn't do is they didn't purchase my distribution company, and so my option was, to maybe sell it for a small amount, roll the die, or to keep it and see if I couldn't grow it.
Okay, so Evolution Fresh it's a big, I mean, to sell to Starbucks is probably one of the biggest accomplishments you could ever ask for as a businessman, right? To sell out to a nice big company who is going to take care of it and take it to that next level. So can we talk about how you got into this business and what it took to get it to a point where you can pique the interest of such a large company?
Sure. So I think to be accurate, goes back to the Naked Juice days. I was living in Pacific Beach in San Diego, not really sure what my future would bring. Graduated from San Diego State, degree in business, knew that I wanted to do something exciting, but didn't know what it was. Got a call from a college buddy who had been working with some friends up in Los Angeles at a juice company called You Like Juice Company. Interested in expanding down here to San Diego. And with that, conversation ensued, made a decision to go up and to meet the founders of the company and figure out if there wasn't some way that we could open up a distributorship down here, or at least bring Naked Juice into San Diego County back in 1986.
At this point, what was Naked Juice looking like? Was it a tiny company?
So it was really called You Like Juice Company. It was a tiny company that was servicing, the majority were hotels and restaurants. So it was bulk orange juice and had some individual pint business with the Vons stores, but started out strictly as a bulk orange juice supplier. The hotels wanted to have fresh squeezed orange juice, but for them to do all that squeezing was, very, very time consuming and arduous. And so we were able to supply them with gallons of not only orange, but orange, grapefruit, apple, lemon, and lime.
Okay. What was your first role there?
So my first role was I opened up San Diego County and basically started with a truck and a driver and had a small office down in Pacific Beach off the alleyway, and went out and started hitting accounts, hitting restaurants, hitting hotels. We did have one small chain up in Los Angeles called the Mayfairs, which have since been bought by the Gelsons, but there were a couple stores down here that we were able to just begin delivering to immediately.
Wow. So you had a little office, you had a guy who was a delivery guy, and it was you just hitting the ground, trying to get accounts, trying to get people to start making orders. And what'd you do? How big did you get it?
So, that business continued to grow. We went from one truck to two trucks to three trucks to four trucks. We started to sell the Vons, which now owned by Safeway, a major chain out here in California. And we slowly grew it to 8 trucks, and we grew it to about $450,000 a month. So it was about a $5 million business down here in San Diego. In the meantime, we, of course, were growing the business in Los Angeles. And I think that we're probably doing about 12 or $14 million as a company.
Nice. Okay. And how long were you with Naked?
With Naked about 10 years.
And then when did you leave? Why did you leave?
So why I left, I think, is another conversation. But I left because what happened was we sold Naked Juice to Chiquita Banana. Chiquita Banana came in and different style, different values, different vision than we had. I mean, we were a fresh squeezed 7-day-a-week delivery, short shelf life
Yeah.
juice company. And that really didn't work with Chiquita's long-term plans of wanting to roll the brand out across the country. So you're talking about, again, a corporate environment and a corporate culture versus, a bunch of kids. I mean, we weren't even 30 yet, passionate about the values of fresh squeezed juice, truly fresh squeezed juice. The longest shelf life any of our product had was 8 days at that time. So you can imagine what was involved in manufacturing. We actually manufactured 6 days a week and then delivered 7 days. And our philosophy was we wanted you to order just enough to make it through till the next day when we got there with our delivery.
Yeah. Juicing and blending. Was that a juice or blend, or was it only blending or only juicing?
So it was everything. So we had smoothies, and we really were the first ones to bring smoothies to the retail marketplace here in California. But it was mostly orange juice, which continues to drive sales. Institutional sizes, half gallons on up, continue to really drive our market.
So that's the number one seller?
Number one seller, along with our all green, no fruit juice, no sugar added vegetable juices. Green vegetable juices, although back in the Naked days, people were into vegetable juices, it would be like carrot, parsley, spinach.
Yeah.
Carrot juice, which was a big item for us back in the day, if you blended it with parsley and spinach, you had the sweetness of the carrots that would kind of offset that green vegetables or the parsley and the spinach. And so, although we did have vegetable juices, we had nothing that was straight green. Today, green vegetable juices, nutrient density is really, really important. Low sugar, you want to be able to get all of your nutrients and vitamins and enzymes. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, this one has a lot more fruit than I normally would get. But when I went to the Starbucks, I figured I'd get it for our podcast. I asked him, I said, "What's your best seller here?" He said, "Definitely the orange. Definitely the orange."
Yeah, and it continues to be. People love citrus.
I mean, citrus is amazing, but people got diabetes now, so they got to get away from the fruits.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the orange continues to do really well, even in the natural and health market segment. But green juices are super strong.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a scary business to be. I'm still talking about Naked. Back in the day, you joined this company, you were there for 10 years, but the 7 days that it lasts, 7-8 days that it lasts, that's a scary time frame. Because if you over order, you screw yourself. And if the shelf life is so short that it's kind of a scary business model. So how did you guys deal with all that type of, weren't the customers afraid to over orders, or was it, how did you guys handle that type of problem?
So, it's the way that we modeled our business, was that fresh juice delivered 7 days a week. And it wasn't easy at first to convince the customers, but when they were able to get a juice that was high in quality and delivered every single day, it just made sense. And yes, there was some risk. It was about creating demand. It was about going in there and educating them and educating their customers to the values of fresh juice. Again, all those vitamins and minerals and enzymes are all alive, where our competitors, most of them went to a pasteurized product. And when you pasteurize, you basically kill all the vitamins and minerals and good stuff. And
all the stuff you need.
All the stuff you need, right. And so what you get is you get a very sweet flavor profile, which America has a sweet tooth. Naked Juice, I think, is $1 billion business these days. So people continue to purchase that product and love that product.
So pasteurize, just so we're clear, it means that they heat it up to a certain temperature, right?
Heat it to about 200 degrees for a certain length of time.
And why do they do that? Just because it's safer?
So it's safer. And actually, there was a time when Adwala, which is now out of business, had a young baby as well as some elderly people die from tainted apple juice. So E. coli got into the juice and people consumed it and then they died. So the FDA mandated pasteurization for everything other than citrus juices because citrus juices had citric acid in it, and that citric acid would not allow E. coli to grow. And so we were mandated at some point during the evolution days to pasteurize, which broke our hearts because we've always been about fresh, and that value of make it fresh and deliver it fresh and give people nutrient dense food was what was at the core of our business.
So how did you get past that?
So, well, we didn't have any choice but to conform with the FDA. I mean, basically, it became law.
Yeah,
it was
they'll raid you.
Yeah, it was called law, and they began a process where they were able to come into our facility at any time and check us out. And what it did do for us, though, is it gave us extended shelf life. And you asked earlier about how did we overcome 7-day-a-week delivery, super fresh juice? Well, we went from a 7 or 8 day shelf life maximum to a 40-day shelf life. And so it changed our business model. Even though our core values were still about freshness and quality, having those available, those enzymes and vitamins and minerals available, we were in business. It's what we did. So we continued to do it. We did it the best we could. We still had fresh orange and grapefruit juice. And eventually, I would say 10 years ago, a technology was created called HPP. And if you look on that bottle, I'm sure somewhere in there, it's going to say HPP or high pressure process or something like that. Maybe on the, are you looking on the back?
Yeah, ingredients, orange juices. Would it be under or ingredients?
It would be somewhere on that bottle.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure it does. I don't.
Maybe on the front.
Oh yeah, cold press using high pressure processing. Learn more at highpressurecertified.org.
Yeah. So high pressure processing allowed us to create a juice that tastes fresh and still has all the vitamins and minerals and enzymes available, where it gets rid of the bacteria. And the bacteria is what causes juice to die or go bad. And so we're able to keep the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff. The challenge with high pressure process is that you have to add citrus to it in order to get, sometimes to have it meet the numbers that need to be met for the FDA, or citrus juice on its own already has that in it. And so that high pressure process, you don't need anything, but our vegetable juices have a little bit of lemon or a little bit of lime. So it changes the flavor profile. But what it does do is it gives you a fresh juice that's not heat pasteurized with all the vitamins and minerals and enzymes.
That's a loophole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a loophole, it's technology is really what it is. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's, I find it strange that you're selling millions upon millions. A couple of people get hurt and suddenly the whole world's got to change for that. It's silly. They do the same thing with milk. I've watched these documentaries where people just want to drink straight milk from the cow, unpasteurized, and feds come in and they say you can't sell the milk. They're confiscating everything. They're giving them fines. I just find it, I understand that they got to protect us, but sometimes people don't want to be protected from each other. So I find it strange that the FDA had to make a rule over it. I mean, sometimes you want, because like you said, and I've heard this before, pasteurization is really destroying all the necessary bacteria that we need for our bodies to thrive, So because a lot of the food that we're eating anyways is so overly processed that we're not getting, we're all lacking a lot of the nutrients. So you've been doing this forever, my friend, since 1980 or 1990?
86.
My goodness, man. My goodness.
It's a long time. It's a long time.
It is. So Naked was growing and, you were there a decade and then you said, what did you say to yourself to move on to start your own company?
I said it was just time. It was just time to go. I mean, again, they were changing the ingredients and changing the processing. And we used to have a drink there, apple banana coconut, which was our signature drink at Naked Juice, and it was a fresh fruit smoothie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they went from a fresh coconut where we used to take the coconuts, crack them, take the meat out, soak them, press the coconut. And that's what made our smoothie so unique and so delicious.
Sure.
And when they changed that recipe, it was clear to me, the writing was on the wall, that that was just going to be the beginning. And it was just time to move on. It was no longer an entrepreneurial environment. It was working for a corporation, different values than us.
Yeah.
Different vision for the future. And so my partner, who actually was the founder at Naked Juice, said, hey, listen, why don't we look at creating a brand? And we, of course, had the trials and tribulations of what it would take to go back into the marketplace and be able to slay that giant that we created. Naked Juice had become a household name, was in Costco and in all the major stores in California. We knew that it would be a challenge to come in and be able to be successful and take market share from them.
So wait, so you left the company and you partnered with the original founder of Naked. So you and him started a new company, Evolution Fresh.
Evolution Fresh, correct.
Wow. So when he got bought out, he was a little disgruntled as well with the approach that they took?
Exactly. He just got out earlier than I did.
Oh, he did. So you lasted a little longer. Okay. So you guys got together, decided to create a brand and try and slay this gigantic dragon that you saw coming down the market. And that's pretty ballsy. They've already got the market share. So what did you guys do? How did you start off? Did you get funding? Did you use your own money? How did that work?
Yeah. So Naked Juice continued to change the recipes and to move more towards a pasteurized environment.
Yeah.
And so we knew there was opportunity to go back to our old customers who we had sold on freshness and raw fruits and vegetables. And at Naked Juice, our slogan was only raw, fresh fruits and vegetables. And so we took that philosophy and we took it back to our customers. And, some were very receptive. Others were concerned about bringing in a new juice company, but we just continued to push the quality that we knew that Naked Juice no longer was able to offer. And we were able to create a niche back into the marketplace, again, based on fresh fruits and vegetables, raw, fresh fruits and vegetables.
It's funny. It's funny. And it's what's funny about the story is that you basically just changed the name and did exactly what you did the first time, except for you just kept it straight to the core, what you built the whole business on in the first place. And you went back to the old customers. I mean, I'm sure you couldn't convert everybody, but I'm sure you converted quite a few.
Yes, we did.
And then from there, how was your first year? Was it good? Was it hard? How long did it take you to develop a solid business?
So it actually wasn't as hard as we thought. We were able to be somewhat profitable almost immediately. The marketplace was looking and ready for something different, something that was a little healthier. And what we've always believed is that the best way for us to market our brand is to get in front of consumers and get in front of customers and educate them. And without wanting to talk bad about our competitors, we just talked about what we did and why we were different from everybody else. And we believe you get our juice into somebody's mouth, you tell them why you're in the business that you're in, and you're going to be able to create raving customers.
Yeah. Sounds so simple. It seems like it's the element of all good business, right?
Yeah, but it took a lot of hard work, a lot of long days, a lot of 24/7 first couple years.
Yeah, it's very simple, but not easy. That's what they say, right?
No, it's not easy. I think that business today is even harder, given that you've had all the conglomeration of all the brands and pretty much, you have 454 Whole Foods. And in order to be successful today in the natural food business, you need to have Whole Foods as your customer. And they're a lot more selective in who they bring in and when they bring in and how they bring in.
Are you in Whole Foods?
Of course.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So first year, so I don't know if you want to talk numbers, but so how long, so what year was it when you started Evolution Fresh?
It was, I think, 1993.
1993.
Yeah.
And you sold to Starbucks in 2011? or 13 or?
I think 13. It definitely not 11. I'm gonna say 13 is probably more accurate. 8.5 years sounds right.
So about 20 years before you sold.
Yes.
Okay. So in those 20 years, what was the biggest headaches? What was the biggest problems that you dealt with that you wish you would have done differently?
We were constantly challenged around capital, and when we look to find partners to come in and help us capitalize the business, we struggled, and you never know who you're going to get into bed with. And I think we could have chose better partners. I think we'd be in a different place today if we had done that, not only back in the Naked Juice days, but also with the Evolution brand.
Can I ask you a little bit more about that? What do you mean by that? Did you have some partners that had too many opinions?
It wasn't about too many opinions. It was about believing in the business and wanting to invest in the business. And when we first got our initial investment, it was 2008. And if you remember 2008, there was a huge contraction in the economy. Housing market had fallen. People were concerned maybe we might go into a big depression again. And so people stopped buying premium brands. And so our business really plummeted. And our partners at the time just lost their patience and lost their appetite for it.
They couldn't see the long game.
They could not see the long-term game. And today, if you look where the Evolution brand is, #1 brand in America, #1 brand, mainstream, #1 brand in the natural stores as well.
Wow, man, you must be how proud are you? I mean, that must make you feel like when you go to the store and you see your baby everywhere. I mean, how does that make you feel?
It's mixed feelings. We're certainly happy to see it and know that what we created has turned into be a national brand that's seen in Starbucks and in supermarkets and health food markets across America. And we wish it was still ours. We wish that we still had the brand.
Why? So was it not a good exit, or was it you feel like
it was not the exit that we would have preferred to have.
Oh.
We were under financial duress, and we were basically forced to sell the company.
No shit. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not what everybody had thought it was or what we had hoped for.
Yeah. But you know what? That happens a lot. That happens a lot in contraction periods. You know, a lot of times they need more capital. So, but when you're growing for 20 years, did you constantly need to put in money to continue to build out the facilities and the infrastructure in order to continue distribution, or what was all the capital for throughout the growth process?
The capital was to, of course, help us accelerate growth, but the changes that needed to be made in our plant continuously in terms of upgrading, and HACCP and the FDA continued to mandate that we have state-of-the-art equipment, and we needed to have state-of-the-art equipment, especially given what was happening out there in the marketplace with the concerns about bacteria. And so the cost to start to manufacture, the quality control end to manufacture just continued to increase. And so we needed to buy the technology to continue to stay ahead of our competitors and to comply with the FDA and other regulations.
Yeah, I understand. But you were profitable up until we had that huge 2008 problem.
I would say that we had years of profitability for sure. I don't know that we were extremely profitable. Super labor intensive business. Continues to be. Equipment today is way more sophisticated, still very, very labor intensive.
Yeah, and you're at the mercy of the market for all the vegetables and fruits. Right now, it's astronomical.
Prices have really gone up dramatically.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have contracts with some of our growers and some of our groves. We're able to mitigate some of those price increases, but food prices continue to go up.
Yeah, and labor has become. I'm in the Chicago market here, and I know it's a nationwide situation where there's just a huge labor shortage, specifically for manual labor and construction and restaurants, factories, manufacturing. So everything, the cost of everything right now is huge. It's up significantly from the past couple of years. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it was a good time to get out. Who knows? You know, we don't know what's coming right now with the whole pandemic and everything.
Who knows?
You
I
know,
think that the one thing that's been missing from both of the presidents' speeches on the pandemic is stay healthy, eat healthy, green vegetable juices, nutrient density, put into your
common
body.
sense.
Yeah.
Why aren't they saying that?
I have no idea. I mean, I didn't expect it from our previous president, had hoped that our new president would speak more on stay healthy and eat healthy, but we haven't heard a word about it.
Vitamin D, vitamin zinc, vitamin C, lots of green vegetables. Go outside in the sunlight. Go for a jog. I mean, none of them are even pushing that.
It's a common sense message, and I have no idea why they've chosen not to do it.
Yeah. So, so were you based out of? So before Starbucks took over, and I want to talk about that in a little bit. But while you guys were growing it, were you nationwide? Were you nationwide before Starbucks took over, or were you locally sourced? Were you local?
We were still fairly local. We had distribution in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and out to Las Vegas, but that was as far as we had gone.
Okay. And did they change when Starbucks took over? Are you allowed to talk about? I mean, I guess you could, right?
Well, I guess it depends on what the question is, but sure.
Yeah, are you? So have they changed the recipe? Have they messed with? Do you feel proud of it still, the product?
Absolutely proud of it. In fact, we had one president who came in and basically made the decision to move towards organics, which is something that we had wanted to do. And we had moved towards doing it. We had an organic line. And he said, we're just going to do it. And we made the switch over. So yeah, the best thing about Starbucks is that, you know, they have come in with that mentality and they have in no way compromised the brand. They have stuck to their word around quality being number one.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. You know, I didn't even realize it is organic. Organic is very difficult to do because of the cost, right? I'm assuming you wanted to do it the whole time, but just like it doesn't financially make sense. You'd have to have a $6 juice.
Yeah, 30 years ago, the costs were prohibitive. Today, the costs are less prohibitive. That gap between conventional and organic produce continues to narrow. Yeah. So it doesn't cost a whole lot more to do it. There are other brands that are 100% organic. And quite frankly, there's chains now in stores now that if you're not organic, they don't want you in their store. And really, we're continuing to see even mainstream. I can't talk for Chicago, but you go into the mainstream supermarkets and their organic sections have grown and continue to grow.
By me, there are a lot of organic sections, but they look like they're withering away. Like the romaines starting to brown at the ends because nobody's buying it by my house. But if you go more North Shore, a little bit more expensive area, I believe that you're right. A lot more Whole Foods and all the regular, like the small mom and pop places have organics now. I mean, it's become a hell of a lot more mainstream than it ever was. So, and I mean, you know, with all these documentaries, Jeff, you know, the documentaries on Netflix and Amazon, you start to open up your eyes about what they're putting in your food. I mean, it's crazy, it's scary. You know, Monsanto and all these different types of GMOs, and they're changing the seed structure to get better yield, and you know, you're just messing with Mother Nature. And so it just makes sense to go towards the organic, specifically with meats. Do you eat meat?
I don't.
You don't. Are you vegan or vegetarian?
I eat fish.
Good. Yeah.
Pescatarian.
Yeah. So Starbucks did a good job when it took over. Obviously, it was not under the best situation, but you're happy with what they've done with the company.
They've really grown the brand. They've made us into a national brand for sure. You can find us in Maine and Florida, California, Seattle, all across the country.
So what are you going to do now? Are you going to continue with the distribution company? Are you going to start another company? What's your plans?
You know, I think so. I mean, I think I'm at a stage in my career where I'm ready to slow down a little bit. You know, the thought of continuing or building a brand from scratch does not sound that appealing to me. I continue to work with other small startup companies, people that have similar visions about either vegan or nutrient dense foods. And so I think I'll continue to work with people that have great ideas, that are looking for, you know, a veteran to come in and show them the ropes.
So I know I did read that actually. I wanted to ask you about. So you mentor people in industries that you're interested in, and then you give them advice on how to raise capital. Is that the main part of it?
So raising capital, not as much, but certainly give them advice around it. Give them advice around their product, around their labeling, about their path to market, who their customer is, how to best sell their product, how to best market and brand their product.
Yeah, that's great. And you focus primarily around the food space and drink?
Pretty much all food space. I mean, it's all I know. I've been in the juice business for a long time. So I think that food is something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I know really well. Certainly the natural products industry is an industry that I've been in for, you know, over 30 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. How has California been affected by the, from what I can tell in the news, California has gotten hit hard by the pandemic. But what do you see on the ground?
Well, California, I think, like every state, has been hit really hard, and it's hard to know how we're going to come out of it. I know that June 15th, the governor has said that the economy is going to open up, and you're starting to see larger venues, concert venues, et cetera, beginning to plan for that. The hotel industry is beginning to schedule events. I know that banquets are coming back to San Diego. So it's going to be a long process. And California was hit really, really hard, specifically the restaurant industry. But we're on our way back to a decent recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. You said you're in San Diego?
San Diego, correct.
You surf?
I don't, but I love to swim.
It's beautiful over there.
Love to swim, take my dog down the beach. We love to get in the waves.
Yeah. It's beautiful over there. I rented a nice house with a bunch of friends of mine in La Jolla, first time to San Diego, and I fell absolutely in love with that area. Man, beautiful, beautiful place.
It's beautiful. We have wonderful weather here, and just to be able to be outside almost every day during the year is pretty special and pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Again, every other day, they don't even know how to tell the weather over here. One day it's snowing, the next day you're wearing shorts. Well, listen, Jeff, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I've enjoyed learning about your story and your journey, and I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, man. Let's stay in touch.
Okay, we will. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.